Hello everyone, my name is Steven and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading some I Don't Work Here Lady stories. Tales of some of the most awkward, frustrating, or otherwise inconvenient exchanges one could have. And let me just say, if you're not already subscribed to Storytime, please consider doing so. But with that being said, let's sit back, relax, and listen to some captivating Reddit stories. She doesn't even go here. So this is from a while back. So I was considering going back to college to study something new, and I had a few interviews lined up of different colleges. This one local college, I went to the interview and was offered a place a few days later. At that point, I had already had a few other interviews and ended up accepting a place on my dream choice course. So I thanked them, but declined. Fast forward a few weeks in, I kept getting emails and phone calls about college activities and student discounts from the college I rejected. I thought, oh, that's weird, but I guess I'm just on their generic mailing list now. Then a month goes by and I receive a letter from the college stating I missed induction day and they sent me a copy of my new college ID pass. I was extremely confused, then remembered they took my photo on the day of my interview. Apparently they do that to fast track the processing for the ID. So I called them up and explained there must be a mistake. I'm not enrolled there. The lady on the phone was very nice and apologetic and said she would sort it out right away. Problem solved? No, apparently not, as I continued to receive emails, calls, and letters saying my attendance was poor and I was on warning for expulsion. I can't remember how many times I tried to explain the situation just to be told they would have someone fix it. By this point, I was well into the course I was actually taking at the college I had actually enrolled in and was thick in my studies that I just ignored the messages, I blocked the number, and set the emails to spam. A few months before finishing my first college year, I got a letter from the other college stating I was expelled from the course I never enrolled for and I must return any college property. Apparently, after all that, I was enrolled in a college I never attended for multiple terms, got expelled, and then was sent an end-of-the-year report card saying that I had somehow, while never attending any classes, earned 7 credits or points towards my final grade. What a clerical nightmare. Is this local college existing just to try and eventually milk money out of somebody when they obviously didn't sign up for it? I smell potential lawsuit written all over this one. Usually staff would wear shoes, I'd imagine. I was 16 and working a summer job in a village as a cook on a children's art course. It was a hot summer and the local shop was only a couple of houses away. I was picking up a few things from there, carrying a basket full of shopping, wearing a painting smock with clay on it. We would help the kids out with their projects, and barefoot. I wasn't super professional at that time, but you get what you pay for. A coach with American tourists had stopped in the village and a couple of women in their mid-50s came in. I was looking for something in the same aisle and they turned to me as the first person they saw to ask, "Where's the aspirin?" Being a very sophisticated teenager, I replied something like, "Huh?" Then started looking for the aspirin for them. Before I could even find it, they started peppering me with questions. "Do you have regular aspirin? Like bufferin? Will that help with stomach flu?" I said, "You'll have to ask at the counter," and they were annoyed. "Don't you know?" I said I was sorry, but I didn't work there and pointed to the man at the counter, he was in uniform, who was about 3 feet away and said they should ask him. But they didn't want him. They wanted me. Did they think staff of co-op supermarkets wore muddy smocks and bare feet? They must have thought I was a peasant or some stuff. Like in English country villages, this was standard garb. I backed away. They followed me asking, "What is the problem?" until I put my basket down and just left. I was flustered. I came back for my groceries after I saw them leave. What just odd behavior. And I would be kind of flustered too if you started backing up and they start following you with, "What is the problem?" Yeah, I'd want to get out of there too, so I don't blame OP for that. I don't think it's an American thing, I think it's just some kind of weird person thing. It happened at a bar. Wholesome. I don't usually visit Reddit very often unless I have something to say or do, and by do, I mean looking at memes and giggling like young childs after telling a bad fart joke. This time around, I have something to say, and it's about a local bar I was at last night with my boyfriend and both of my roommates. The whole household is fully aware I'm severely hard of hearing, but I claim to be deaf because I understand verbal language about as well as a deaf person. Though this has led me the opportunity to speak, and with speech therapy in my youth, to speak very, very well. This is important. So we're at our table, I'm drinking Jack and Cokes while the hubby and one roommate is drinking beer, the last remaining roommate drinking soda because he's driving. That soda drinking roomie is the one taking care of grabbing the drinks because for some reason he enjoys getting me drunk. Thinks I'm more hilarious when I'm drunk. I don't know, I just enjoy getting crab-faced. So I'm sitting at our table, signing a very long joke about a story called Voodoo Dick and deliver the punchline. The two roommates burst into laughter having never heard the joke before, though my hubby has heard me tell it verbally and signed a few times before. Note, our table was just completely signing, myself included, but yes, I can use my voice. Some man, maybe in his mid-50s, taps me on the shoulder and signs, "Are you verbal at all?" To which I signed back, "Yes." I notice the older gentleman has cochlear implants. I ask, signed, "You have CI. You not here?" He responds, "Too noisy in here. Need sound break." Hate talking, people think I'm stupid. At this point, it clicks. Oh, he's got a deaf accent. Granted, I used to have the deaf accent when I was young, prior to 7 years of speech therapy. I signed to him, "I'm deaf too, but my roommate will help you order." Which said roommate really didn't mind, he has a soft spot for disabled folk. I signed to my roommate, he's deaf and needs help ordering a drink. Help him? And my roommate signs, "Sure," and gets up from his seat and gestures for the older man to follow him to the bar. He helps the old man order his drink and gets the bartender to give him a pen and paper so he can write down his orders later in case he decides he wants to get more, informing the bartender the older man is deaf too and isn't comfortable speaking. Not the usual I don't work here lady story, but it was something wholesome I figured you guys might enjoy. The rest of the evening, that guy got his drinks and later was picked up by his partner, brother, roommate, whatever. We've seen him and the other guy around at Huddle House quite a bit when we went to eat there. By this time, we were also finished and decided on Huddle House. Lo and behold, both our parties wind up at Huddle House within a few minutes apart from each other. At least at Huddle House, our specific server that evening knew some basic signing and was able to assist all parties involved without relying on interpretation nor writing notes back and forth like school children. Cheers! Yeah, this is a pretty wholesome story and it's nice to hear them helping each other out. And it's nice to hear about the ending where they all ended up in the same place coincidentally. Overall, just a nice and wholesome story to read, which is just a breath of fresh air a lot of times here. You're not black. I was working in a college town that had a really amazing, diverse food scene. One day during lunch, I walked over to my favorite Ethiopian restaurant. It was a super relaxed environment inside. They were kind of nestled into a shopping plaza, had dim lighting, and had mismatching dining room tables and chairs that kind of made you feel like you were at a cool aunt's house. You just knew you were going to have the best meal of your life based on all of that. When you first walk in, there is a beverage cooler directly to the right of you and a counter with a cash register on the kitchen side and menus on the patron side. Then the random tables and chairs were kind of haphazardly scattered about. The ladies who worked there knew me and my typical order, so after paying, I hung out fiddling with my phone on the patron side of the counter. Adding this crucial detail only because it comes in later, but at the time this other patron, who is white, let's call her DG for dumb girl, enters. I am the only other non-person of color in the establishment. A pale, pasty ginger. So dumb girl walks in and kind of starts hovering by the beverage cooler looking around. This is more of one of those places you walk in, order at the counter, and seat yourself. If there's no one at the counter, then it would make sense to wait around up front or seat yourself and wait. The main waitress had just gone back to the kitchen to get my food, so I was awkwardly standing in front of the menus and kind of just assumed she knew the flow of things here. In dumb girl's defense, I was wearing all black clothes, kind of the typical wardrobe for a waitress. I finally acknowledged her after she started sighing and tapping her foot and asked if I was blocking her way to the menus. She responded with a very catty, "It took you long enough, you're just standing there on your phone ignoring a paying customer. Do you not want my business?" I was totally caught off guard and didn't say a word. Just slid over a menu to her. I guess I could understand her being confused, but again, this was by no means a fancy place. Right after she said that, the waitress walked out from the kitchen with my food in a bag and told me to have a nice day. The looks on dumb girl's face switched from embarrassment to confusion to annoyance until she finally looked at me and responded with, "Well, yeah, that makes sense. You're not black. Why would someone like you work here? That's what we get for coming to a place like this, right?" And then she laughed in that way that white people do sometimes when they're trying to get other white people to agree with them on something sort of racist. It made me uncomfortable and didn't make sense anyway. I just said, "I don't know what you mean," and walked out to my car. I ended up asking the main waitress about Dumb Girl the next week. Apparently, Dumb Girl sent her food back twice, saying that it was too spicy, and ended up demanding a comped meal. Needless to say, I never saw Dumb Girl again. I think there's probably a lot of words to describe this lady. Dumb is probably letting her off easy, but we'll just stick with that for now. No, I don't work here. I'm a female and I'm pretty tall and look older than I am. I was at Hobby Lobby with my mom and dad and I was wearing a blue shirt, the same shade as the Hobby Lobby vests. I didn't think much about that until after this happened. We are thinking about remodeling our living room, so my mom was looking at our house decor and things she liked. We were walking past the aisles and one of the end shelves contained a bunch of big wooden letters. My dad started laughing and said I should spell out "help me," probably because of all the stuff my mom was picking out. He was joking, but I decided to do it anyways. Well, I was moving the letters around and my mom was looking at some decorations behind me. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this family looking around for something. This older lady approaches me and I move a little, thinking she was looking for one of these letters. She taps me on the shoulder and this is pretty much how the conversation goes. "Excuse me, where can I find the wedding stuff?" Me, confused. I'm not sure they have any wedding stuff here. I had already circled the store and didn't remember seeing any wedding stuff. "Aren't you supposed to know that?" "Huh?" Realizes what's happening. "Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I don't work here." Lady, shocked. "Oh my gosh, honey, I'm so sorry. You were arranging those letters and I just assumed that you did." Me, happy she wasn't a Karen. "No, it's okay. I completely understand." Her daughter was laughing the entire time. I know it's probably not the crazy Karen story you were looking for, but as I said, I read a lot of these and thought this might be appreciated. Thanks for reading this far. It just goes to show that if you obsess over what you're wearing at all times, it might pay off in the end, as you might realize you wear something that's a little too close to what workers wear when you're going somewhere. Because inevitably, it seems every so often, this kind of situation happens to somebody. Avocado. Today, I went to my local supermarket to buy myself some energy drinks. As I walked down the aisles up to the cashier, I noticed this elderly cashier having trouble answering a little girl's question. She looks really embarrassed and seems near to tears. I asked what was wrong and she asked me in response how to know if an avocado was ripe and ready to be eaten safely. I smiled. Finally, I could help someone with my useless food knowledge. So I told the little girl that an avocado is good to eat when they are a little soft, so her finger would slightly sink in when pressed on the avocado, but not too far inside, but then the avocado would be mushy. I also told her about a nice guacamole recipe and she smiled at me. The elderly cashier stood right next to me the whole time. She first apologized, then thanked me for helping. We had a little chat afterwards and I left with a free can of cola. Oh, this is just a short, sweet little story. I'm not sure if it fits perfectly in the I don't work here lady category, but it's still a nice little story to hear. And I'm glad everything ended on a very positive note. I work there, not here. Backstory. I was laid off. I used to rent strollers and wheelchairs, but the desk was no longer funded and the stroller company changed into machines. I am disabled, so I haven't gotten another job since, and the company knows this very well. I have actually been a part of that company my whole life, as my mother has worked their corporate since I was a baby. They hired me back for Saturdays and Sundays as security can't keep up with renting wheelchairs. Okay, on to the story. Remember I said the strollers are now through a machine? Well, as machines are known for, it sometimes freezes and or doesn't work. People can't quite get that through their heads and they expect me to be able to fix the machine so they can get or return a stroller. My experience as total of 15 minutes ago. Angry woman comes up to my desk. "Hey, can you help me? The screen froze." I questioningly follow her to the machine screen. "Well, yep, it's frozen. I'm not really sure what to do at this point, as it's strictly through the machine now and I don't work for insert stroller machine company." "So there's nobody who can handle this in the mall?" "No, the machine is the only one here. There's another same machine on the other side of the mall, but I can't promise there are currently strollers there or if it's not frozen like this one. I'm sorry, I don't work for a company. I only rent wheelchairs now. I ran my card through it. What if it charges me?" "If it charges, you just call their customer service." angry woman, now frustrated. "Aren't you customer service?" "Yes, but not for the stroller company. I just do wheelchairs. There's the other machine." "Thanks, I guess." I walk back to the desk, still not understanding what people don't get while hearing that I can't fix machines from a company I don't work for. Sorry if this wasn't as interesting as I know some are, I just thought I could add to the lols on Reddit. I'm not sure what they expected. You say you're not with the company, you can't fix it, so why are they gonna get all upset at you? I understand there's a little bit of frustration just because the machine stopped working, they put their card in, blah blah blah, but don't take it out on somebody that's not even involved with the company. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to and watching the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and let us know what you thought about these stories in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.